Welcome, you're watching Morning Markets on Money9. I'm Sakshi, Batra, and this is where we give you all the key updates you need to begin your trading day right. तो चलिए शुभारंभ करते हैं आज के ट्रेडिंग सत्र का। आपको बताएंगे कि कल से हैंडओवर क्या मिला इंडियन इक्विटी से, साथ ही आपको बताएंगे कि संकेत क्या मिल रहे हैं हमें ग्लोबल मार्केट से और क्या इंडिकेशंस है कि आज का मार्केट का ट्रेड किस तरीके से रहने वाला है। इन सभी बातों पर होगी चर्चा। फटाफट से देखते हैं कि कल मार्केट की क्लोजिंग कैसे हुई। तो पॉजिटिव शुरुआत हुई थी कल, ग्लोबल क्यूज पॉजिटिव थे और ये जो gains हैं सस्टेन होते हुए नजर आए towards the close also. When you talk about the Sensex, it did not manage to close above the 50,000 level. However, it still managed to gain points of about 750 yesterday with gains of 1.5% in percentage terms as well, and it shut shop at 49,849 levels. Now, when you talk about the Nifty 50, it managed to close above the 14,750 mark as well. So that's a little bit of positive that we are actually tracking for the Nifty 50. We'll just have to see how the gains are really sustained in today's trading session as well. 232 points of addition for the Nifty 50. That's 1.6% up for this benchmark index. When we talk about the Nifty Bank, again, there were gains placed of 1.5% in yesterday's trading session. It did manage to climb up over the 35,000 mark after slipping below this level, especially in the last 1 week. We had, seen the Nifty Bank slipping and breaching the levels of not just 37,000 but 36 and 35,000 levels as well. So it's slowly inching up and we'll just have to see whether these gains sustain. Now, in the broader market space, when you talk about, it is the small cap index that performed better than the mid cap index, 1.6% of a gain, and it shut shop at 20,479, with the mid cap index also closing with about 300 points of a jump and 1.5% uptick in yesterday's trading session. So all in all, it was a positive day of trade, but it was largely led by a whole lot of short covering that we actually saw from the FIIs, and that was in the options market. However, we'll just need to see for the gains to continue and for the momentum to continue. The short covering is done, but now the buying needs to happen, and that especially in the cash markets too. So we'll just have to see whether there's more buying happening in the cash markets, because just about 150 crore rupees was bought by the FIs in the cash markets in yesterday, which is very minuscule. So the factors that the markets will be tracking today will be important. Of course, from the macro front, the February GST collections are good, quite robust at over 1.13 lakh crore rupees. So that's something that the markets will be happy about. The auto sales figures for February have been quite encouraging so far. It's not just the four-wheelers, but also the two-wheelers that are reporting good numbers for the month of February as well. So we'll continue to track all of those as well. Remember, for Tata Motors, we reported yesterday that the sales figures, especially for the passenger vehicle segment, were highest in the last 9 years as well. And all of them have been reporting positive numbers, including, the largest car maker like Maruti Suzuki, Ashok Leyland. All of them have been reporting quite positive numbers, including TVS and Hero Moto too. Now, moving on to find out what will be important to track as far as the commodity space is concerned. So, crude oil prices will be very important to track. Remember, the OPEC meet will happen on March 4th. So, this will be key to understand what decision do they take, the oil producers take on the production of the oil as well. FII flows will be extremely important to track because it has been a liquidity-driven rally, and going forward as well, we'll just need to see what kind of inflows keep coming into the emerging markets, especially in the Indian markets too, to be able to sustain the momentum that we have seen so far. Again, from the macro front, you'll see the telecom spectrum auction began yesterday, and the ministry also reported that the bids worth over 77,000 crore rupees were received on day one. So we'll just have to see how this progresses, and we'll get to know the details also as to which segment receives the maximum number of bids as well. So we'll just move on to see now what kind of an indication are we getting from the global markets. Now, when we talk about the US markets, it's a screen which is bright green, 2% jump for the Dow Jones, S&P also up over 2.4% in trade, and the Nasdaq also 3% up in trade. Now, remember, both the Dow and Nasdaq, they have clocked in the best day so far in 2021. As far as the S&P 500 is concerned, now this index has seen the best day since the last 8 months. So again, it's been quite a happy cheer, and the beginning on March is what we've seen from the US markets. However, when you talk about the Asian markets, in the last half hour, we have actually seen most of the indices slip into the red. They were actually trading in the green right in the opening trade, but now you can see about 0.5% loss for Nikkei, Hang Seng and Shanghai, which is trading with mild weaknesses in today's trading session. There was an expectation that the markets will actually be pulled up because of the recent bond market sell-off, which has calmed down the investors' nerves and lifted the riskier assets. But we're not seeing that happen. We'll just have to wait to find out what is the trigger because of which the Asian markets are now slipping. Now, when we talk about the SGX Nifty, remember it was trading with much higher points, but now it has trimmed down further. It has pared the gains, just about 22 points of a gain. So we can actually look at a muted to a flat with a positive bias start for the Indian markets today. 14,815 for the SGX Nifty at the current moment. Moving on to the crude, the dollar rupee check as well. From the money market space, you can see the rupee has been trading at 73.55 to the dollar. That's just about minus 0.11% down in trade as well. Moving on to the oil markets now. Remember, they have now slipped quite sharply. The WTI crude, which is the US crude, that has slipped below the $60 to the barrel mark now. And the Brent crude has also come off sharply. Remember, in the last week, we had seen the Brent crude also touch the level of about $67 to the barrel, but it has come off sharply. It is right now trading with about 2% loss at $62.55 to the barrel. Remember, the sharp fall on Monday also of about 1% was seen as there was a fear of the Chinese crude oil consumption really slowing. So in case there is a slowing energy consumption in the Chinese markets, that's really what has affected the oil market prices in today's trading session as well. And remember, going forward on March 4th, when the OPEC really meets, there is a fear and there is an anticipation that the OPEC producers and the oil producers may decide to increase the production, which is likely to increase the global supply of crude oil as well, which is likely to put the crude oil prices further under pressure going forward from here. Now, moving on to find out what stocks do you need to watch. Again, let's start off from the oil and gas space. It is BPCL that is going to be the focus of the day, as the board has approved the sale of an entire stake in its refinery for about 9875 crore rupees. Remember, Oil India, Engineers India and Government of Assam will be picking up the stake. So you can see an extension of the rally that we had seen on this counter in yesterday's trading session. Moving on to another stock that you need to watch out for. Watch out from the auto space. Eicher Motors will be cool to track because it has reported its monthly sales figures. It was trading with 2.4% uptick yesterday. The total motorcycle sales in February has risen to over 69,659 units, and that's versus a 68,877 units on a month-on-month basis. So again, February data is quite encouraging for Eicher Motors. You can see an extension of the rally that we had seen yesterday. Moving on to another counter, that's again from the auto space, and it is Hero MotoCorp. It has reported again its sales figures for February, which has increased to over 5.05 lakh units versus 4.98 lakh units on a year-on-year basis. So that's also an encouraging data that we are seeing. So already a 3.8% uptick was seen in yesterday's trade, and you can see a further jump up on the counter as well today. Moving on to NMDC now. Again, this counter was also shining bright yesterday with 3.5% jump. The production in February 2020 has increased to 3.86 million tons from 3.24 million tons year on year. That's again quite positive. The sales have risen also from about 2.91 million tons on a year on year basis to about 3.25 million tons. So both these encouraging data are likely to further push up the NMDC prices in today's trading session. Another stock that you need to watch out for will be from the logistics space. It is the Shipping Corporation of India stock. About a 3.7% uptick was seen yesterday. Now, the PIM secretary has said that multiple expressions of interest have been received for privatization of this company, and the transaction will now move on to the second stage. Again, quite a positive news for this stock, and you can actually see further rally on this counter as well today. So that's as far as this stock was concerned, but UPL is also going to be important to watch out for. Remember, this counter has been performing well over the last 2 or 3 trading sessions, and it has been one of the top Nifty gainers too. 5.5% uptick yesterday was seen. The company has signed a long-term pact with MMC Corporation for an active ingredient, and that will be very important to track because that is something that is likely to increase and the company's profits going forward and earnings going forward as well. So that's going to be very important to track fundamentally for this counter going forward from here. Now, moving on to the stock recommendations of the day. Remember that from Anand Rathi, Nilesh Jain has actually recommended a buy on the Balkrishna Industries counter. Remember, it was up about 2% in trade yesterday. The stop loss you need to maintain on the counter would be 15.55 with a target price that you can keep on the stock at 16.30 rupees. It was trading at 15.84 in yesterday's trading session, but further upside can be seen on this counter. CESC, another stock that he needs you to watch out for. 2% uptick was seen yesterday. The stop loss you can maintain on the counter would be 605 with a target price of 635 on the upside from 617 rupees that we have been seeing in yesterday's trading session as the last trading price. ITC will be important to track too. Nilesh Jain says that you can actually keep a stop loss of 202 on the stock with a target price of 215. So remember, that's again a buy call. So all three buy calls from Nilesh Jain today. Another counter that you can watch out for will be from ChartView India's Bazar Mohammad's recommendation list, and that is on the Power Grid Corporation. Remember, this stock also has been performing quite well over the last few trading sessions, and you can still see a further upside on this stock with a target price of 247. You can buy this counter at the current levels and keep a stop loss of 215 rupees per share. Moving on to Arvind Limited, that's a stock that you need to watch out for. A stop loss of 71 is recommended by Bazar on this with a target price of 94 rupees on this counter as well. It was trading down by about 2.2% yesterday, but again, it is likely to move up and reverse the trend that it was seeing yesterday. So that's as far as this counter is concerned. And from the steel space and the metal space, it is SAIL, the Steel Authority of India, that is on the top list of Bazar Mohammed as well for a buying list. You can actually buy into this counter at the current level prices with a stop loss of 70 rupees and a target price of 87. Remember, it's been trading at 78 rupees per share, but you can actually see a further upside of 1910 rupees on this counter. So go ahead and buy this counter if your financial advisor also advises to do so as well. So 6 picks you've got to begin your trading day with profitable trades as well. But with that, we wrap up this edition of Morning Markets, but a whole lot is coming up on the market coverage and its opening. So stay tuned with us on Money9.